protecting our community is worth a shot. Vaccines can help protect you, your family, and our community. Stop by James Drugstore today.
And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news, and I am joined today two guests that have kind of a special assignment here in Livingston Parish. They both were asked and agreed to be voluntold to join up on this committee, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves real quick so those of you listening can put a voice to a name, and we're going to start with the lady on the viewer's right.
I am Krystal Hardison. I'm the director of the Southeastern Livingston Center and happy to serve for the LinkedUP Livingston Committee.
Thank you, ma'am. And the gentleman on our left.
And I am Jack Varnado. I'm the captain of the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office Communications Division and also serve administratively as the 911 director for the parish.
Which is a cool facility, by the way. And so what we're talking about today is internet. And specifically broadband internet across Livingston Parish. There is a federal mandate for it, combined with a state mandate. There is funding, but first there's some steps we got to go through.
Yes.
State Representative Buddy Mincy Jr. approached a large group of individuals. You are both part of that list. And I believe, Mr. Captain Varnado, you are the chairman of the committee.
I am. I'm what they call the digital navigator.
Gotcha. So you missed the first meeting. So
I did.
So, little joke.
Yes.
But we appreciate both of you volunteering. So first and foremost, from y'all's perspective, let's talk about the committee. What is the purpose of the committee? And feel free, either one of you, take it and run with it.
Well, I think the biggest purpose is to have buy-in from all of the different levels of government, business, the Chamber of Commerce, different organizations that have a need, healthcare, different things that have a need for high-speed broadband in the parish, whether it's businesses or homes, because we've seen where it really needs the parish people need high-speed internet, whether they're working from home, doing telehealth, telemedicine, education, whatever it is. There's a huge need for it.
Sure, and we learned a lot of that during COVID last year.
Yes.
That there was a large gap between those with and those without. So, Ms. Hardison, anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think that's important, is to be able to look at that digital gap that we're looking at and being able to make sure that we see not only the underserved, but also mostly the unserved, the people that don't have access to internet at all. Our committee is actually charged with 3 tasks, looking at not only the affordability, the accessibility, but also the digital literacy portion of it as well. So we've got threefold that we're kind of looking at, and we're going to talk a little bit today about what we're doing for accessibility.
Yes, well, in the digital literacy portion, that is very interesting to me, especially, here at the newspaper, we're doing stuff like this, and doing a lot of digital production. So it things are moving in that direction. So let's start from, basics. Representative Buddy Mincy Jr. approached both of you as well as the rest of the group and asked you to join this committee. You said yes. Again, ladies first, why?
Well, as the center director for the Southeastern Livingston Center, our mission is to make sure that we do whatever we can to help better educate as well as bring technology skills to the people of Livingston Parish. So it was in my wheelhouse to be able to make sure that I was part of this, be able to help those that are unserved as well as the underserved, and then also have a platform to be able to push some digital literacy for any citizens in our parish that may need that.
Okay, Captain Varnado?
Well, for me, it was really kind of natural because being in 911, we're not stuck on just an old telephone system anymore. The telephone and the telecommunication systems are so broad now that for me it was just interesting to be able to go out and say, hey, we can do this, and from a public safety standpoint, we can provide guidance to help with this digital divide, whether it is the accessibility, the affordability, and being able to go out there and not just from a law enforcement standpoint, be the police, but to go out there and have a positive impact in a different way on our community.
Sure. So what I'm hearing a lot of is community connection. And, Mr. Mincy or Representative Mincy went around and found a lot of different stakeholders to be a part of this committee. How has that committee worked so far?
It's been fabulous. We have, like we said, just different facets in the community to be able to make sure that we're bringing everybody to the table, helping us get the word out, and being able to do some of the things that we just actually launched the website this week, the LinkedUpLivingston.com, and how important that is, and making sure that everybody is, with a concerted effort, going at this at the same pace and making sure that we get as many people to complete the speed test, and be able to make sure that they're helping with that affordability with the emergency broadband benefit, and making sure that that people are aware of that in our community.
Sure. So let's talk about that for a second, because I know that's the big reason y'all are here, is to push people to go to this website. A lot of people may not know, but if you're sitting at home or sitting at your office, you can type in internet speed test in Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing or whatever you happen to use, and you can go test it. But for y'all's purposes, it's easier for folks to go to your website, click on the speed test, and that allows you to collect that data easily. So first and foremost, is it right there on the front page? What is the website, and how easy is it to get to this speed test?
It really is very easy. All you have to do is go to our homepage, LinkedUp Livingston, fill out the form, and you start the speed test.
Okay.
It gives us granular data that is to the community level, which is what we need, so that we can go to the providers then, whether it's any of the internet service providers, we can then go and say, here is where we have challenges of not meeting the appropriate service for people to be able to have a good linked up service in the parish, and that's why we really chose LinkedUp Livingston.
Sure. And broadband is, I believe, is constituted as at a minimum 25 down and 3 up. Correct.
That is correct.
So there are a lot of, and for some people that's not very fast either direction. So it's kind of interesting what the base definition is. To y'all's knowledge, what are we looking at in terms of people or perhaps an area in Livingston Parish or areas that don't meet that criteria? I know when we did an interview with Superintendent of Schools, Joe Murphy, last year, he discussed that it was roughly 1 in 4 students did not have basic broadband internet. Is that kind of what y'all are seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it really is. And just before we came in here, I was looking at the data that we're getting in already, because we're already able to start looking at that data. We have 218 people that have already signed up that form and did the speed test at their home, and we're seeing exactly what Superintendent Murphy described, that there's quite a number of people that don't have just the basic, what we're calling 25-3, 25 down, 3 up. But the Gumbo grants, which is the state grant, we're seeing that they have already looked at that number and said that that's not really a good number. They want us to be at 100 down and 20 up. Mm-hmm. And that's really key for us as a committee to try to push our providers to get out there and provide this type of service to our community, because uploading and downloading videos is one thing if you're doing it for pleasure, but if you're doing it to sustain a business or to do telehealth or education, mm-hmm. for our kids, our continuing education for our adult population, it's really important that they have those kinds of speeds.
Sure. Yeah. And it's very interesting when you talk about things like that. A lot of people don't understand that even a highly compressed high definition video at about 10 minutes is roughly 3 or 4 gigabytes. Yep. I mean, that's a lot.
It is.
And if you're downloading at 25 a second, that could be up to 20 minutes. So, trying to get people, as you said, linked up, a little more connected. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit specifically with both of you individually about sort of I guess it's kind of the reason you were picked. We have first responders on the left and education on the right. And I want to talk to you first, Ms. Hardison, because we discussed what we talked about with Principal or Superintendent Murphy, excuse me. But, you know, from a parish-wide standpoint, there are a lot of students that are just not there with regard to connectivity. That's not talking about them students themselves. Let me clarify that. So from your perspective, when you're thinking about this, because I also want to say it's very interesting that as a committee, you mentioned y'all have direct communication with these providers, right? Which I believe is ETEL, Cox, AT&T, and I don't think
Charter Spectrum.
Charter Spectrum. So we have about 4. Some places have more than one, some don't. So I know that's a difficulty as well. What's it like as an educator to see something like this, and what's your mindset as you work with this committee?
Well, being Southeastern Louisiana University, we have a huge commitment in Livingston Parish because a number of our students come from Livingston Parish.
Sure.
So, you know, when the pandemic started and we went to 100% online, we had a tremendous issue for our students as well as our faculty and staff that actually live in the parish. I had no idea a year and a half later, fast forward, that I would actually be on this committee. But because I saw where we were and where we needed to be, when Buddy called, I was like, yes, absolutely, because I see how it directly affects my student population, not just in, you know, Livingston Parish or our Walker Center, but all throughout, you know, our students that are in our Hammond campus as well.
Sure. So, yeah, that's interesting. You kind of got it on 2 levels. You sort of see it as a resident here and as, you know, an educator here, but also the flagship over there in Hammond. A lot of people from here saying, you know, I'm having trouble with classes because my internet is not great.
Right.
So that's interesting. Now, from a first responder standpoint, obviously, relatively new 911 facility, very tech-based, obviously a lot of data moving in and out of that. And you know, with there being places in the parish that don't really have great cell signal and don't really have great internet, I imagine for those places it's very hard to be a first responder.
It is, and to be able to do the mobile reporting that the first responders do, we're having to do this wirelessly, and it's not just as easy to go and drive into a parking lot of a business and link into their Wi-Fi and do a report. That's got to be done and put in timely. But it's not just that. It's the personal side whenever we go home, to stay linked in with our public safety side. You know, from the 911 side, we've been seeing people dropping landlines for years now,
right?
And they're all going to cellular, and not having that cellular service. Even at my own home, I don't have good cellular service, so I have to connect into my Wi-Fi whenever I get home to be able to make phone calls and receive phone calls, and then to still be able to do work, because as a captain at the sheriff's office, I'm on duty 24/7, and we need to be able to stay in contact with our offices and so forth. But it's not just the sheriff's office. This is firefighters, our local volunteer fire departments, and our local police departments. And we saw this during the hurricane that connectivity is very, very important for everything.
And that's a good point. You know, Ida, you know, I know for a lot of people they'd rather just put COVID in the rear view, but Ida is very recent. I know that for at least part of Ida, the Central School Board office was shacked up with you.
Absolutely.
And
we were thankful to have them.
Well, yeah, and I imagine that put a strain on your network.
Well, we have 2 separate networks there,
Okay.
but, you know, the thankful part, I guess, through all of Hurricane Ida, the Livingston Center never lost electricity, and we never lost connectivity either. So that was a rare occurrence. So that's why most people flocked there, as well as we had lots of faculty and staff from Southeastern.
Sure. So, you know, just to kind of paint a picture, you've got sort of this mandate from the state, and there's money available. You're trying to work with both your citizens and your providers to get a big picture of what the connectivity looks like in Livingston Parish. Is that a pretty good sum up?
Absolutely.
It is.
What's your deadline?
Well, the deadline for the providers to apply for the gumbo grants is December 31st.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do early in this process is get the granular, as I spoke about earlier, the granular data that we can then share with the providers, and multiple providers in an area, like you said. But in some areas, there's only one provider. So if we can share that data with them and then get them to try to commit to building out their network to get this high-speed internet, that's our goal for the accessibility portion of what our tasks are. So that's really where we're trying to go right now.
Okay. And again, just your website, and please remember that all you have to do is go to the website. I'm guessing that people's location is going to be tracked as they input their information, and they just have to hit the speed test. Once it's done, they're done.
Yes.
So what's that website again?
It's LinkedUpLivingston.com.
Okay, and that's pretty simple.
Yes.
So of course you can read about this in our paper or online. Of course, you'll have a Facebook page too, I believe.
Absolutely.
Of course, that'll be LinkedUp Livingston. Anything y'all would like to add or say before we wrap up today, other than, I will say from a personal standpoint, it's 2021, and so many things are being done digitally now, and while we are behind in the internet realm, right now we're shooting video and we're doing audio.
Yeah.
And as I work with these and compress these every time, every year there's a new format out that's bigger,
Right.
and looks better, sounds better, but it's bigger,
Yes.
and having to upload things to the internet and download them to watch them, takes up more speed, more space, more time. So obviously, and that's from a business standpoint. And I know that y'all have business people on the committee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important, for these providers and for these individuals to understand that there's a lot out there.
Yes.
We need better internet. So anything y'all like to say to wrap up?
The only thing that I would say is we're not talking about just a convenience or a pleasure thing to be able to watch a football game or watch a Netflix video. We're talking about quality of life issues. That's what this really is about. And I know Krystal and I both have had this talk. We got on this committee because we believe that it is a quality of life issue. Representative Mincy, he put this together as a quality of life issue for Livingston Parish. Mm-hmm. It's about our business community, and it's about our residences being able to have quality internet for quality of life purposes.
Sure. Hardest?
And the way we can make that better is just making sure that we have as much data as we can when we bring it to the service providers, that they can see exactly where the issues are in Livingston Parish. So just want to challenge everybody to get out there. Our grant process opens November 1st. It ends on December 31st. But the more data we can give these internet providers, and they can actually see where the problematic unserved areas are, the better we're going to sustain in Livingston Parish when it comes to this.
Sure. And again, for an internet check, usually takes about 20 seconds.
Yes.
So all in to go to the website and everything, you're talking about maybe 60 seconds of your time. Yes, ma'am.
One other thing that I wanted to reiterate too is just make sure, even if you don't have access to internet, it's important to mark that also on the speed test. You can't run the speed test. However, you can let people know. And that's definitely one of the areas that we're looking for under accessibility.
Oh, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. So there is a portion on the sheet or on the form online where you can mark, I don't have internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Wow, very good. Okay, great. One other thing that I know some people do end up doing, and I want to make sure, I know some speed tests do and don't. If you're on cell signal, don't scan. Yeah. You need to be connected to a Wi-Fi signal or something like that. Okay, so please don't just do it on your cell phone.
Right,
exactly.
right.
Try to do it on a computer that is connected to the internet. And if you're on a cell phone, please be sure that you're connected to a Wi-Fi spot nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for that, because that is very important.
Right, because I know there are some internet speed tests that'll just test your cell signal.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So thank you both for being here. We appreciate it. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And again, we're going to start with the ladies first.
This is Krystal Hardison. I'm the director of the Southeastern Livingston Center.
And I'm Captain Jack Varnado with the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office Communications Division.
Thank you both. And my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate both of these ladies and gentlemen joining us today. And those of you out there listening, we appreciate you joining. Please remember, this is a parish-wide effort. I know drainage is such a big thing these days that maybe you don't want to draw the comparison, but as the captain said, I mean, this is about quality of life. This is how modern day businesses, first responders, educators are doing business, doing their jobs. This is important for all the citizens. So please, please, please take the time, go fill out the form, run the test. It'll take 60 seconds of your time. And remember, got to be connected to the internet. One last time, we are coming at you from the Livingston Parish News. Please remember we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We do hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.